What's happening, everybody? JayShockblast here, and we are finally going to make a video I've been talking about for a while, that I've been teasing for a while, and unfortunately, in the time since I started planning this video and now, my number one character on this list has already been revealed. I'm going to leave him there, even though I like to have characters that haven't been announced yet on my list. And I like to focus on characters that have never been in a LEGO game before, as best as I can remember. Sometimes I mess up and forget guys were in the game, but whatever. So this is my top 10 villains I want to see in LEGO DC supervillains. The game's coming out in October, so we are almost 2 months away, which is amazing. I cannot wait. And quite frankly, my channel needs it. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. I will also do a top 10 heroes I want to see in the game, and like this video, I will focus on characters that have not been in the game. So we've seen lots of great supervillains and villains in these LEGO Batman games, and there's no shortage of ones that have not been in the game, and that's what I'm super excited about. I've been, kind of sitting on this list for a minute, and a lot of characters have been announced. Characters that I really want, like, Lobo and Deathstroke, and I'm sure Atrocitus is sure to follow. Making that list is boring. Those are characters y'all know about, y'all have played before, and yes, I want those characters the most, but these are characters we haven't seen, and I think that's way more exciting. I had a huge list of characters. There are some that I've left off, especially all of the Dark Knight Metal characters, Batman Who Laughs and all of those. All of them would be my list, So I really hope that there will be a DLC, but I don't think there will be. I think those characters are just so cool looking and would be such a great addition, but I think even that is a bit too dark, and I just don't think that that's something that's going to happen, but that's my dream for this game. I always have this unrealistic dream, and that's it for this one. So I left them off the list because it would have taken up the whole list, and it's not interesting to pick characters that reasonably aren't going to be in the game. There were a couple characters that didn't make it, especially characters that were in the Arrowverse, if you will. Prometheus and Savitar, Dr. Alchemy, Captain Kronos. A bunch of characters I had listed as possible characters for the DLC that's coming out. We already know that Professor Zoom is going to be one of the characters, and if I remember correctly, I think it's Siren. I'm actually typing it now. I probably should have known this. I think it's Siren is the other character that we're going to see as part of the TV villains pack that's going to come out, that's already been unveiled. So all those characters could be in there. The one character that I did include on my list from that group, I'll talk about in just a moment. We've already seen Merlin, and we've already seen Deadshot, and we've already seen somebody else, Heatwave, I think, and Captain Cold. All those characters have already been unveiled. We've also seen Mirror Master, which is one of the characters I was thinking about. Black Mask and Catman just missed the list, but let's go right into number 10, because from Legends of Tomorrow, Vandal Savage is my number 10. I kind of had so many things I wanted to get in there all at once. Vandal Savage has been around forever, literally and figuratively. You know what I mean? That's his character. He travels throughout time, and obviously he's a long-standing character in the DC universe, so I think he'd be very interesting to have in here. I would be fine if he was part of that DLC pack, but I think Vandal Savage is a character I'd like to see, and I think we're going to see, quite frankly. So at number 10 was Vandal Savage. At number 9 is a character that I feel might be I might think is more important than she actually is. I have Cersei. Now, my exposure to Cersei started with the DC game, the MMO game, and she was a very important character in that. I think you actually based one of your characters, like character builds, off of it, and I don't know, she's always stuck with me ever since then. and I just think that she would be a pretty cool character that hasn't been a Lego character yet. She is a main Wonder Woman villain and has all sorts of sorcery. So I think it would be fantastic if we could go ahead and get Cersei involved. And, that's a pretty obvious choice as far as I'm concerned. Maybe she's not as important as she is because I feel like I never see her other than in video games. So let's keep that trend going, I guess. At number 8 is a somewhat new character, I believe. We've seen him in Man of Steel. It is Rogol Zar, who fought with Superman and Supergirl, got sent to the negative zone. He claims that he is the destruction of Krypton, and he is a pretty menacing looking character. You might say that he looks like a composite of a bunch of characters, almost like Lobo meets Darkseid, only uglier. But I kind of feel like Rogol Zar is a great character to get in there, and I feel like even though he's pretty recent, it's a character that DC would want to get in there since he is somebody they've really focused on. They put out this free magazine each month in comic shops called DC Nation, and he was on the cover of the very first issue. Who is Rogol Zar? Discover his quest to kill Superman. Part of the whole Bendis, Brian Michael Bendis coming over to DC. So I think number 8, Rogol Zar, would be a pretty good choice. At number 7, we have Trigon, and come on, Trigon is part of, Teen Titans Go. Trigon has been just a big part of a lot of stories. Obviously, the father of Raven, I believe, and or in some sort of way. So, with so much focus on the Teen Titans in many ways, Trigon, I'm just shocked that Trigon hasn't been in the game yet. With the ability to have characters grow to super big figs, he is the perfect choice for a character that can do just that. I think he visually looks cool, and quite frankly, we got to get Trigon in there. So at number 7, we have Trigon. At number 6, we have the AntiMonitor, and I swear to God, I keep thinking that he's been in the game, but I keep looking and I don't see him, so I can't be missing him every single time. But just such a huge character. This is a big cosmic character for the DC universe, and he's been a very big part of so many major stories. He looks really cool, and I think that's half the battle for some of these Lego characters. So I think it would be really cool to see the AntiMonitor involved here, and we'll see what happens. At number 5, we have Eclipse, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. A couple years ago, there was DC did I think like a month where there's they did like villain covers, and it was like the lenticular covers where if you kind of moved it back and forth, they did they moved a little bit, and one of the comic covers was Eclipse, and I bought it like just purely because of the cover. It was such a cool looking cover, and his backstory is pretty cool. There have been a couple different Eclipsos as well. Just a really interesting character. The character is the incarnation of the wrath of God and the angel of vengeance that turned evil and was replaced by the Spectre. So this is a really cool possibility for powers, and just looks pretty menacing and awesome. So I would love to see Eclipso in here, and I honestly, it's just that one cover that I just really loved. So I still have it, and I think that is enough to put the character in the game, if you ask me personally, and you did, so there you go. At number 4, we have a character that technically could be generic, but you could also base it off of 1 or 2 different specific characters. We have the Talon, and the Talon is part of the Court of Owls, and there are some, very specific Talons that make sense, the biggest of which being William Cobb, who is the great-great-grandfather of Nightwing, so Dick Grayson. So they did a huge backstory for William Cobb. I mean, there are others that are interesting, but I feel like this Talon is the one that really captured me the most. And I loved Court of Owls. I thought it was a really good story. I'm not really a big Batman guy, but I mean, I respect Batman. I didn't really think that I thought this was a really great story that I read and I really enjoyed. So William Cobb or Lincoln March would be really great choices for Talons. I will say there is a set that's out right now in the Lego sets that I saw actually yesterday or the day before at Target that does have 2 Talons as part of the set. And I kind of feel like anytime you see a character jump into a set, that they have a better chance of being involved in the game. So number 4, we have Talon. Speaking of Lego sets, we have Ocean Master. And he's not in a Lego set that I'm aware of yet, but he is in Aquaman Rage of Atlantis. And he is the brother of Aquaman. And I don't remember if they've shown him yet. To be honest, I traveled a little bit during San Diego Comic-Con or after it, and I don't remember whether or not he was one of the characters unveiled. But, I mean, come on. You have to include Ocean Master in this game. I mean, he's been a really big part of a lot of the DC storylines, and just having been in Aquaman Rage of Atlantis, it just makes total sense to have Ocean Master in there. We know they have a character model. It's just perfect. So I hope Ocean Master is in there. Orin definitely deserves a shot. He's never going to be king, but at least he can be a Lego minifig in a Lego DC Supervillains game. At number 2, we have Necron, and Necron is the ruler of the Black Lanterns. And I say this basically every time somebody asks me about DC Comics. My favorite storyline and what really, really sucked me in to DC Comics was Blackest Night and Brightest Day, but mostly Blackest Night. And Necron was at the forefront there as a Black Lantern, and he was devastating. And I know they kind of did the whole lantern thing in Lego Batman 3, but they Black Hand, but they didn't really have anything with the White Lantern. Well, they did have Kyle Rayner's White Lantern, but I just feel like they could dip into it a little bit further. And I don't know if Necron would really fit into the story. I don't know that they would go back to that well with the lanterns, but you can get lantern rings for your created character. So maybe I feel like Necron would be a pretty epic boss battle as well. So I'd love to see Necron in there at number 2. And that brings us to number 1, a character that has technically already been unveiled. Even though it's not the version of the character I was looking for, it is the version of the character that makes sense. It is number 1, Deathstorm. So Deathstorm is a member of the Crime Syndicate, and obviously it makes a lot of sense that he's already been announced as being in the game because he's a part of the Crime Syndicate, which is now the Justice Syndicate, which is a central story to the game. So the version of Deathstorm that I actually wanted was the version from Blackest Night. Again, my favorite storyline in all of DC Comics. And that Deathstorm does look a little bit different, acts a little different, and is a little different than the one from the Justice Syndicate. Obviously, that's another universe and all that good stuff. But that version of Deathstorm was just absolutely brutal. And it was when Jason and Ronnie were fused together. And it took them through the ringer. And I would love to see that version of Deathstorm on top of the Justice or Crime Syndicate version. So, it'd be a pretty cool little alternate uniform. You can kind of switch between the two. But I digress. So I know, it's kind of weird that my number 1 character was already, announced, even though it's not really the same version. But hey, I got good taste. What can I say? So those are my top 10 characters that I would love to see in LEGO DC Supervillains. I would love to know the characters that you want to see. Maybe I missed a few. I honestly did a lot of research on this. I wanted to kind of dig deep because I know TT Games loves to dig deep into their characters, and I wanted to find the coolest villains that I could for DC Comics. And I feel like this is a really cool list of characters that have never been in the game before that I would love to get their opportunity. So you can pick 10 characters or however many you want in the comments below based on whatever criteria you want. I hope you did enjoy the video, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you think. We'll see you.